Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with the boys from Convoy, Dustin and Jonathan, or as I call them, Justin. How you guys doing?
Good.
Hey guys, so I think we have three topics that we should just put together in one video. I get a lot of questions about these. I think we can actually tie them all together. So why don't we're going to talk about ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages, prepayment penalties, and points, because I do think these all tie together. So why don't we start with points? What are they? When do they make sense? Should you ever pay them? All of that. Why don't you guys tell us what points are?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you can go ahead. Go ahead.
So, points are a way for anybody, doesn't matter the credit score, the deal, to get themselves a lower rate than what they're actually qualified for. So everybody's got a different credit score, a different down payment, a different investor experience. And for example, I may qualify for a 6.5. Michael may qualify for 6.25. Now, for me, if I want to get the same rate as Mike, I have to pay, let's say, half a point to the bank so that I can be on the same quote unquote playing field as an interest rate wise as Mike would. Mike may not have to because he has more investor experience than I do. But points are something in this market, John and I, feel it's not right for every deal. It's not right for everyone. Mm-hmm. But when the break even is what we always analyze. Makes sense based on what the client's actual vision is for holding it, whether it's a 1-year hold, a 10-year hold, forever hold. Then you want to run the numbers, because hypothetically, if I'm given the option, in this recent scenario, to go with a 6.25 and pay half a point versus go with the 6.5 and pay no points, and my goal of buying this investment property is to hold it for 10 years minimum, the break even hypothetically, let's say, is about 30 to 36 months. Okay. When you're paying half a point
upfront
to get 0.25% lower, it's about 30 to 36 months. It's a no brainer for me, because I know that from months 30 to month 120, that's how long I plan to hold it. I'm winning. I beat the bank by making that decision on the point. So like I said, it's not for every deal, because sometimes it may be more expensive. But it's an option that every investor, I firmly believe, leads to at least take a look at.
And by break even, just want to clarify the break even thing,
please,
because I think a lot of people get confused on how to calculate it. So we just basically, what Dustin is doing is we're just taking the payment as it would be on a 6.25 and a payment that it would be on a 6.5, and then having the cost of that difference, like half a point, right? So take that half a point, divide it by the difference in the payment, and you'll get kind of the amount of months that it take for you to recuperate that cost.
Yeah. I've always, again, I'm not in the space. I've always looked at my points as kind of prepaid interest. I don't know if that's the right way or the wrong way to look at it. Basically, basically I'm paying up front. And for me, the magic number is 36. Again, I'm a one rental at a time guy. I buy every asset with the intention of holding forever. So I will prepay interest or points in this case, if it's 36 months or less. 30 months, no brainer. 36, flip a coin. I'd probably do it, because again, I'm going to hold for forever, at least, forever is 10 years plus. So I think that's it. I think points are great. I think every investor needs to work with a provider like Convoy that will show them the options, right? 1 point's this, half a point's this, 1.5. You got to have those discussions, because maybe it does, maybe it doesn't make sense. But it's definitely something in today's market to think about, because rates are in the 6s now and may go into the 7s. So think about what that cost you. So that's points. Let's talk about prepayment penalties. It's probably not something that I don't think I've ever talked about explicitly. I may have referenced a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 scale, things of that nature, but we really haven't talked about it. So tell us what prepayment penalties are, why they exist, and let's go through that first.
Yeah. So, I mean, the basic of a prepayment penalty is, literal definition is penalty for paying off a loan early, right? And that early period typically ends up being, we've seen average 5 years or less, right? Which is why you're talking about the scale of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But it keeps the borrower from having to refinance or keeps them from wanting to refinance or get out of that loan too early. So the bank can secure kind of what they allocated their amount to receive from that loan is fee, right? So if they charge you like a 5% prepayment penalty and they're like, hey, 5 years, you can't pay it off early or else we're going to charge you a 5% pre-penalty. It's because the bank wants to recuperate the money that they would have made over the life of the 5 years up front, right? So
Absolutely.
so that's the basics of prepayment penalty. Here at Convoy, I mean, we work with a lot of different lenders, investors and such. And, there's a lot of different options for prepayment penalty. And it's very important to know what the prepayment penalty terms are prior to signing on for the loan. Or
Absolutely. Yes.
So because our lenders too, right? Pricing might be a little different depending on the type of prepayment penalty that the lender provides, right? And what I mean by that is, maybe a lender that does a hard 5% 5-year prepay penalty has slightly better rates than a lender that has maybe a 3-year prepay with, a 3-2-1 step down, right? So if that's the case, then, and your plan is, like you said, if you're planning to hold it on for 10 years, then it makes sense for you to take the hard 5 because it doesn't matter. You're not going to pay it off in 5 years, right? So it's very important to understand. Now, we have different types of prepay that we offer to our clients because of our different lenders. So we have the step down that you talked about, which is, if it's a 5-year prepay, 5% the first year, 4% second year, 3, 2, 1, right? That's the one that everyone knows. There's something called a hard 5% prepay, which means that during any time of the prepayment period, 5% is going to be the charge, or whatever the lender says the fee is for paying it off early within that period, whether it's a refi or a sale. There's another one called the soft prepay, which is actually if you sell the property, you're exempt from having to pay a prepayment penalty.
Wow.
That's a very interesting one because it's very popular with our clients, because if you sell the property, which is kind of like the only way that the clients would think about doing something is selling it to upgrade, like 1031ing. But it allows them to sell without the kind of fear of having to pay a prepayment penalty. So even if it's within the 5-year period, if you choose the soft, they will kind of like, hey, here you go. You don't have to pay the prepayment penalty, but here's your money back to upgrade. And then there's also a lender that we have that we love that does 6 months of interest only. So no matter what, in the 5-year period or 3-year period, whatever you decide, the prepayment penalty is always going to be 6 months of interest.
That's not bad. Okay.
Yeah. So it ends up being, in the first 2 or 3 years, it ends up being a better deal, right? If you plan on refinancing or selling in the first 2 or 3 years, better deal than going, somewhere else. We also have lenders that'll do a mixture of the 6 months interest plus the soft prepay together. So that's the best of both worlds, where even if you refi in the first 2 years, which who knows what the market will do, but if it all of a sudden just drops like crazy and, it's a boom, then, you're not losing out much, right? So there's a lot of different ways, and it's very important to understand what the prepayment penalty is prior to going in.
Yeah. So upfront points to me are prepaid interest, and kind of prepays are kind of the reverse of that. They're basic. I don't know if people know this or not, but banks are in the business of making money. Shocking. Yeah. I know it's shocking. And again, when a bank makes a loan, they make that loan because they want to get paid back and they want to make some money. So to me, the prepayment penalty was always guaranteeing some base return. That's kind of what I've always looked at it as. And you brought up, Jonathan, some prepayment penalties I've never even seen. So I look forward to digging into those later. The soft and 6 months interest, those are awesome. And investors need to reach out to you and talk about all these, because again, I agree 1000%. You have to know what the prepay is up front before you sign.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then it's like, to piggyback off of what John said, that there's a lot of people think it's 5 years. You actually, as the client and as the investor, you can decide between if you want a 5-year prepay, a 4-year, a 3-year, a 2-year, a 1-year, or no prepay at all.
Exactly.
Now, obviously, from the bank's point of view, if it's better for them for you to go with the 5-year, then the rate's going to be lower. But if you go with the loan that has no prepay, I think when we priced it out, it's like the rate's almost 0.75% to sometimes a full percent higher if you go with a loan that's no prepay versus a loan that's a 5-year prepay.
Exactly why the banks are in the business of making money. And these little variables, you have to understand your deal, understand your plan, talk with your lender like Convoy, and find the right Rubik's Cube that makes sense for you and that deal. Because Maybe this deal's 3 years, maybe that deal's 5. I don't know. Reach out, have the conversation. So now for the big one, adjustable rate mortgages, often called ARMs. I know you guys offer a lot of amazing products. I know that I suspect ARMs are going to double, triple in transactions. It's just where the market is going, given that the 30-year is up and people are losing their mind at 6%, where I've done loans at 8%. But hey, I get it. I'm not a big fan of ARMs, so I expect you to push back on some of the sexy programs you have. But for me, it's the full picture. It's an ARM with the prepayment penalty, because guys, I have had hundreds of people in the last month say, Michael, I'm going to get an ARM, a 5-year ARM. Let's just make it up. And I'm going to refi in 2 years when Jerome Powell gives up and has to cut rates. I'm like, A, that's a bet that I wouldn't make, but okay. And then 2, I ask them what their prepayment penalty is, and they have no idea. I'm like, first off, if you got a 5-year ARM, you probably have a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 step down in most cases. Are you going to sign up to pay 3 points on that? People don't understand that just getting an ARM without having the other pieces, guys, have the full picture, right? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And I mean, to be honest with you, and I'm sure the gap will be bigger, but if we're talking about like DSCR programs or non-QM programs in general, the difference in rate between an ARM and a fixed right now is almost not worth taking, the ARM for, right?
Yeah.
So definitely reach out to us to check with us. But as we've seen it right now, it's not big enough. However, like you said, ARMs are going to become more popular. And if it's not DSCR and not just non-QM, we have obviously portfolio lenders and private lending situations where ARMs are, I mean, the rates are full 2% less.
Yeah, they can be today. Yeah.
Yeah. Then the spread is just so big now. So,
well, let's talk about it. Jonathan, sorry to cut you off. Let's say you can get a 30-year fixed at 7%, or you can get an ARM at, what was it? 5%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, talk about the whole picture.
Yeah. So if we're talking about, a 30-year fixed at 7%, we're usually talking about like a investment property, right? Sure. So if we're talking 500, I'm just going to do an easy number. So $500,000 loan at 7%. Let's say we're going I'm just going to do interest only,
sure,
just because it's easier. So interest only payment on a $500,000 loan at 7% is $2,916.
Okay.
Let's say it's a 5-year ARM, interest only. That payment is $2,083.
Okay, so it's basically $900 cheaper.
Correct.
Every month. So,
right. So again, on paper, that looks great. Awesome. You are signing up for some risk. Let's be real. Yep. And you probably have some prepayment penalties that I think a lot of like if your plan is to bet that Jerome Powell chickens out or the economy crashes and he has to take rates to 0 again, and you have a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In this example, let's just say you're in like 2 years gone by. So you have 3%. You're paying 15 grand at point of refi, right? 3 times 500.
No. So here's where I don't know if your experience on the ARMs may come from more commercial products that you've done, because we know those all have those.
Yep.
All of their ARMs, they're all commercial or ARMs and have the step downs. That's the common commercial loan product. The DSCR loans always have a prepayment component and the ability to, either have one or not have one.
Okay.
The deals that we're doing on the luxury side, more of the owner occupied or people that actually want to provide income documents, those ARM products do not have a prepay whatsoever.
So, wow. Okay.
Those are different because they're a lot of times people that are buying, a multi-million-dollar primary residence. Number one, you can't have a prepay on a owner occupied, but the banks that are offering these rates that are 1-2% lower on the ARM compared to their 30-year fix, these are people that are, or banks that are asking clients to show some sort of personal income. So there's no prepay on ARMs that are going through some sort of personal income verification. But on the DSCR one, that like John touched on earlier, I haven't tried to tell a client one time in the last, 6 months, since rates have been obviously increasing, that the DSCR ARM makes sense, because the spread,
it's just nothing.
Like a quarter point. But on the luxury stuff that we're doing,
like
it's hard to not look at.
So, let's talk about that. So again, I think in the DSCR investor loans, let's be clear. If your delta for an ARM product is a quarter, you're an idiot if you take that risk.
Yeah.
Let me just say that right now. However, if you're on a different product, which I have never done, I have never bought luxury. It's not where I live, not what I've done. So let's talk about that. Right? So I'm going to sign up for, I don't know, a $5 million home. I have the income, maybe it's royalties, maybe whatever it is. I have no idea what these people do for a living, but good for them. They're still taking interest rate risk, right? Or are they basically in a situation, worst come to worst, they pay off the loan? I mean, I don't know. And there's some risk.
Situation for them when you're buying a property at that purchase price. You know, they're comfortable enough. They feel that a lot of times they're smarter than everyone else too, you know, and they can time the market, and they're all about, you know, reserving as much cash on hand and capital so they can continue to build on their wealth. So, you know, it's different. I personally, you know, me, myself, I wouldn't go with a ARM, but I can fully get behind the clients that we've put in ARM and their reasoning and understanding of what they believe the market's going to do. And that's not my call on that.
No. So again, if you remove the prepayment penalty, which Jonathan, you're absolutely right. My experience is commercial and apartments. So, you know, that's a real thing. So if it doesn't exist, like if you don't have a prepayment penalty, then the only risk you have is interest rate risk, right? Basically, hey, what's going to happen in 5 years?
Correct. But like for a lot of our luxury lenders, right, that will do investment or primary, even if they don't have a prepay, I mean, and let's say we go interest only, back of the interest only example, because a lot of these bigger products and these investment properties, they'll do interest only because the payment is just so much less, right? This is where interest only kind of jumps in, and really it's like a $2,000-$3,000 difference every month, right?
Sure.
So if they go interest only on a product like this, and let's say they go, you know, like one of our lenders, they're specific to California, but one of our lenders will do no matter what, whether it's a 5-year, 7-year, or 10-year fixed, they will do a 10-year interest only.
Okay.
So that prevents the payment from, even, you know, if it jumps up on rate wise everywhere across the board, it prevents them from kind of jumping up too high to where a point where they can't really like recuperate from.
Okay.
Right. So that interest only factor allows them buys them a little more time. Other lenders actually have a deal right now going on. And, you know, don't hold me to it, everybody, when you guys hear this on the video. But the deal that I have going on right now is it's a triplex in California that's being bought, and it's a 3-year interest only, which is again 3-year, very short. But the client has a very short time frame in the sense where they're actually gonna, you know, refi out. They have a plan to refi.
So the plan is to be out.
Correct. But on that 3-year investment property, full doc, obviously, it's a 4.75.
Wow, in the 4s.
A 3-year interest only ARM, right? Fixed, obviously 30-year term.
Yeah.
But you know, we're talking, they have an exit strategy, but the rate is 4.75.
Yeah. So folks, I'm not an ARM fan. I have been doing this for 20 years. But again, remember, buying a triplex, for example, my plan would never be to get out in 3 years. I don't know what their plan is. Good for them, but have a plan, have the discussion, talk about the options. If you're going to do an ARM, at least ask about prepays. If there are none, awesome. But I'm very scared for all the people that are coming to me thinking they can time the market.
Yeah. It's
freaking stupid. Do a deal that makes sense today. And if it goes your way later, refi. But don't do a deal today where you need Jerome Powell to do something, because there's a chance that Jerome Powell walks up and kicks you in the nuts.
Yeah.
I'm not really signing up for that. I would rather know I have a deal today and tomorrow versus hope and pray. So again, if you're going to want to reach out to Convoy, how do you want them to do that to see the options?
Email privateclient@convoyhomeloans.com and let us know that you are from or at, so Dustin and I can jump on.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks again. We'll talk in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
All right.